Hello everyone, this is CJ Novo992 and today we're back with another brand new video. Today's video we're here to discuss another game of football. Thank God we can stop talking about the last one. You know what I mean? I can reach out to Harry Forrester and say, you know what mate, it's alright, you're off the hook. I've got a new pass to think about. But before we actually get into today's video though, as always, just a friendly reminder in case you are new around here and you're a new viewer, make sure you be hitting that subscribe button and help the nation on our way to 27k. But without any further ado, let's just dive into it then, shall we? 3, 2, 1. Rangers versus Hearts, 7:45 kickoff, back at home, back at Ibrox. Now this Hearts side that we are coming up against isn't a walkover or an easy do-over to get over the Old Firm Blues. Nah. This is a Hearts side that just rallied and came back versus Aberdeen, coming back from 1-0 down and actually coming away with all 3 points, winning 2-1. It was a very interesting game. I talked about it yesterday in the SPFL show where they did not perform well at all in the first half. In fact, they were pretty damn awful. Aberdeen had so many chances. The goalkeeper really stood up for Hearts in that as well. They should have been dead and buried, but they rallied back. They came back in the second half and they scored a couple of late goals, one including a penalty obviously, one where they should have had a penalty, and then they got the deserved winner after a Scott McKenna error. Now obviously I like the last part where Scott McKenna making the mistake, but the way that Hearts rallied back and came back in the second half, don't like that at all. And if I'm honest with you, I'd love to come here and get really hyped up and talk about how much of an easy game it's actually going to be and we're going to win 4 or 5-0, but this Hearts team is actually a very physical team on and off the ball. They get stuck in well. They are quite hard to actually beat when they turn up. Now, we discussed their 2-1 victory over Aberdeen, which was great, but the game before that, they actually played so poorly. Like, they couldn't hit a barn door with a shotgun and they ended up getting beat 1-0 off Hamilton. So there's already a couple of factors already building into this game. You've obviously got the inconsistent Hearts, see what team actually turns up on their end, but also they've just been leapfrogged by Hibs in the league, so they'll be coming here looking to get some points, whether that's sitting in deep and defending or going for it and trying to get the win. But also on the Rangers side, what Rangers team's actually going to play against this physical Hearts team, because we don't have a physical striker that's played well against the Hearts backline. That's usually can sort of roll off defenders that get stuck in, like Berra, you know what I mean? He's always going to be a physical threat. Morelos usually controls that pretty well, especially against Hearts in the last couple of games, but we don't have him anymore. What do we do? Do we take Jermaine Defoe and put him in there, put him back to defenders and see if he can hold the ball up versus Christophe Berra? I don't think that's going to go well. He's a predatory style striker. He needs to be in and around the box. Do we take Kyle Lafferty out from the cold, out from sitting in the stands, and actually put him up in the striking position and say, save us, you big 7-foot son of a bitch? Is that the way we actually attack the game? Or do we play them both and really get after Hearts, who I think personally is going to sit in deep, try and frustrate and just try and get as much points as possible out of Ibrox, because they need all the positive points they can. Now, they're under a lot of pressure from their own fans because Hibs have obviously jumped them in the league, so I think they're going to be a backs to the wall situation on, and I think 2 up top, Kyle Lafferty, Jermaine Defoe, 1 big, 1 little, like the classic Jermaine Defoe formation to actually get the best of them. Harry Redknapp said that many times before. What would you do with the missing Alfredo Morelos? What formation, what personnel, who do you go for up front, and do you change that to a formation to actually suit certain players, or do you keep it the exact same? There's no right or wrong answers, but let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below, because I believe that's going to be a massive factor in this game, obviously. Now, it's worth noting, by the way, as I'm currently recording this video, no action has actually been taken against Ryan Kent for helping Scott Brown visit the floor in the Old Firm match. There's been no suspensions or anything, so I'm pretty sure he will be available to play against Hearts, and I'm very interested to see how he plays, because that performance versus Celtic is getting a lot of plaudits for his on-the-ball stuff. You know what I mean? Gerrard talked about it, saying it was a superstar-esque performance, and it really was. Ryan Kent was truly amazing in that game of football, especially being down to 10 men. The amount of times they got fouled, they got straight back up, the willingness to beat people, the willingness to get the ball in tight areas. So I'm very interested to see how Ryan Kent actually sets up against Hearts, and also how Gerrard plays him, because for that performance, he might even play him as a sort of wandering striker. You just never know. Ryan Kent was genuinely that good in the actual game. So I wouldn't be changing anything on the left winging situation, but if I'm honest with you, I think some changes need to be made on the right hand side, and I know this one isn't going to make me popular. I know I'm going to get a wee bit of shit for this, but I think Daniel Candeias needs to be dropped and rested for a couple of games, because the man is just so absolutely spent. And if I'm honest with you, just being deadly honest from me to the, I think he's been poor for the last 5 or 6 games. You know what I mean? His passing has been so awful. His crossing's just been completely diabolical. Yes, his work rate's there. We can't take anything away, but we need creativeness out in the right. We can't always just rely and fall back on his work rate. I think he's absolutely spent the amount of effort he's actually given. It looks like he's tired after 10 minutes, but he's still running non-stop. But when he gets on the ball, he's maybe overthinking it or rushing it. Something's missing for Daniel Candeias, and I think personally he needs to be dropped out to not only protect himself from sort of just falling even deeper into this poor run of form, but also helping us get back to creating things on the right hand side, because if it's no Tavernier creating nothing is coming from Daniel Candeias right now. And if I'm honest with you, I'm looking at this Grezda guy thinking of the money we've actually spent on him. He had one really good performance at Ibrox where it looked like his career was going to take off at Ibrox. Then he went away in an international break. He came back with an injury. He got injured again in Tenerife. It's been a whole mess, but he's fit now. He's ready. Why not give him a game and see if he can actually create things and recapture that performance that he had at Ibrox earlier in the actual season. And that's the sort of change I'd make to the overall team, but try and keep it as much the same as possible. I think the midfield players were actually pretty good in the game, especially Arfield, who I think's gone very underneath the radar, and Ross McCrory, he needs to play in this game. You get what I mean? You can't just drop him at the team and only play him against Celtic. What's that actually saying for the guy's mentality? Surely he plays in this game. But let's transition over to the injury / suspension list, because this is where other changes are actually going to be forced. And if I'm honest with you, that's probably the only time ever on this channel where a transition happened naturally. Now, I've already spoke about Alfredo Morelos being suspended in the game. I've asked you what would you do with that situation, but there's also another situation down at left back, because Andy Halliday got a second yellow card, meaning he's suspended for this game. Barisic is also injured, so who is playing at left back? Now, there's a couple of options, believe it or not, even though Gerard has kind of said there's not many. You've obviously got John Flanagan, who I think if he doesn't play in this game at left back, his Rangers career is done and he's away in the summer. I think that's kind of part and parcel with that. You've also got Matt Polster, who I'm starting to believe we've only signed because of his wife's YouTube channel. I'm starting to get a bit worried about that. And also, the third and final choice would be Lee Wallace. Lee Wallace's return versus Hearts. It's a fairy tale ending. Maybe one of his last games for Rangers, it would be against Hearts, the team we got him for. It'd be perfect, but this is real life, not really a fairy tale. I certainly don't see Lee Wallace starting the game, but if it did, the comment section will be vicious. Can you imagine Ross Watson? Honestly. But all joking on that aside, who would you play at the left back situation, or would you shift to the three at the back formation to help further up the two up top? There's a lot of options and a lot of chances to change things in this game of football, and again, this is a discussion channel. I just want to know your thoughts and opinions on the overall game. The rest of the squad, by the way, on the Rangers end is actually pretty healthy, which is actually good to see. The only long-term injuries are obviously Jamie Murphy and Mr. Graham Dorrance. Something else worth noting, by the way, on the Hearts side of things, their main striker, the man that got the winning goal versus Aberdeen, is apparently injured and will be missing the trip to Ibrox. That'll be a massive boost for us as well. And that's actually us all done and dusted. There's not much to actually recap from the press conference, because they spent 95% of it asking about Alfredo Morelos, and Gerard said the same thing every single time for 11 minutes, so a 60-minute video. Shocking media questions, so not much there, but the rest of it has all been done and dusted now. All that's left is for me and they to get their fan predictions out there. So will you let me know what you're thinking about the game? I'm actually going to go with a 2-0 Rangers win. My goal scorers, I believe when you start Jermaine Defoe, he will get you a goal, especially if you play to his actual strengths with bringing in someone like Kyle Lafferty. I would go with Jermaine Defoe the first goal, and I believe big Kyle Lafferty will actually get the second. Two strikers playing, two strikers goals. That's my thoughts. But now it's time to jump over to Twitter, and that is a fast transition as well. There's been 985 votes. Thank you so much for getting involved. I know it's not great to be talking about the football this early, but again, appreciate the support. 9% votes for the draw, 9% votes for Hearts, but 82% of the people votes for a Rangers win. Robbie writes in 2-0 Rangers. I think it'll be an end-to-end game, but I think we'll just be too much for them. Defoe and Lafferty with the goals. I swear to God, that's no meant. That's literally the first one I've read out. Robbie in the mixer. Stuart Ward writes in 3-1. Defoe, Arfield and Kyle Lafferty. Philip Ewan McGregor writes in 2-0. Lafferty and Kamara with a Hearts player getting a sending off. That'd be nice for once. Ross Watson writes 2-0 Wallace and Tav. I'll give you that, because that's the only time you're actually allowed to say that. Danny, only an excuse, is 5-0. Someone's due a hammering. Scott writes in 1-1. The bold Cal writes in 4-0. An easy win for Rangers. Michael Grugan writes in 2-1 Hearts. Reported and blocked. Right, next one. Ross Mackey writes in predicting 2-1 Rangers. Feel like Hearts will score from yet another defensive mistake. And the last two or three that we'll actually read out come from Clutch. He writes in 3-1 Lafferty, Stephen Davis, good shout, and Ryan Kent with another goal. Alistair McKenzie writes in we need a positive response. I'll go with a 2-0 Rangers win. Ryan Kent and Defoe with the goals. Hashtag please sign Kent. And the last one we'll actually read out comes from, bang, Jordan Robertson. He writes in 4-0. Jack, Tav, Candeas and Nicolo Katic. So there it is, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. You've heard from the people, you've heard from myself. If you haven't, and Rocky's now moving the camera. There he is. You're just going to walk, really, you're just going to walk right into the camera shot now, Rocky? Someone's wanting walk, so I better wrap up today's video. That has been everything in today's video. Hopefully you did enjoy it. Make sure you let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. And also shout out to the legends that's helping support the channel on the Patreon's account. If you would like to help, the link for that is down in the description below. I've been CJ92. That's been Rocky Boy Johnson. Thank you for watching, and bye.